Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Yider Insurance Group, Forward Corporation and T.R. McTaggart, Angler Quest Boats, Security Credit Union, Garber Chevrolet, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to hour number 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine show, right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. Yeah, 3 hours. 3 hours each week talking about the great outdoors here in the great state of Michigan and occasionally beyond. Talking about the history and tradition of this outdoor lifestyle that means so much for many of us here in this wonderful state. For many of us, this is how we grew up. In fact, I was thinking about this the other day when I was up in a tree stand, and there was not there probably wasn't a deer within a mile of me, but it didn't matter because I was in that stand, and it was one of those days that was just absolutely perfect. I mean, the weather conditions were perfect. I was comfortable and warm, but not too warm. And I could hear anything moving in the woods. And I, to be honest with you, I didn't really plan on shooting anything. I just wanted to be out there. And I'm thinking, I wonder how many days like this, for example, my dad had in his life when he was here, and my granddad and my great-granddad before then. And to be able to share that experience and know that in that way I was reconnecting with my family history, generations before me. And then I started thinking, how many more generations down the road will do this? I mean, my son James, absolutely. Most of my grandkids are into the outdoors and love the outdoors. Will it extend beyond that? You know, I'm not going to be around. I'm not going to have any impact, any influence on that. But that's one of the things I think that I enjoy about this outdoor lifestyle the most is knowing we are continuing this tradition of getting back to nature, of getting close to the real world, the natural world, to get away from, even though most of us sit in our tree with our cell phones, but to get away from all that stuff and just reconnect. And especially this year, right? With everything that's been such a screwy year, we are seeing kind of people heading back to the basics and heading back to the outdoors. And man, it's all good. It's wonderful. If we can just make something good happen out of this kind of bad year that we're having, then maybe it's all worth it, right? For deer hunters, this is an especially exciting time of year. Because next weekend, of course, is Halloween, right? And for deer hunters, Halloween doesn't mean trick-or-treaters and candy bars. For deer hunters, Halloween means kind of the unofficial kickoff of the rut. The rut is the whitetail breeding season. It's a time when the testosterone level in the bucks kind of jumps up a little bit, and they get a little bit crazy. And it's a time when you might want to consider not just sitting in a stand or a blind for a couple hours in the morning or a couple hours at night, but sitting there all day long. Now, when I talk about these things, I'm not talking as an expert. I'm talking about just a participant. But I know who the experts are. And one of them, you know him as well. His name is Greg Abbas of A-Way Outdoors. He was on A-Way Outdoor TV for many, many years. He's an outdoor inventor. He's the inventor of the bow runner. His dad, Fred, has innovated many deer hunting tactics. And we got Greg on the Outdoor Magazine phone line right now. Greg, welcome back. How are you, my friend? How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am just wonderful. This concept of the outdoors and how it maybe holds us together through generations, you see that in your family even, I think, don't you, Greg?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the next generation's out hunting right now with my dad. one of the grandkids, one who's never taken a deer before. And so it's exciting. I called last night to see what's going on, and I'm quite anxious, and I hope she does well.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, as I'm thinking about this, oftentimes when I would try to reach you this time of year, you were tied up at that same camp and unavailable. I mean, have you had a chance to get out much this fall?
No, I'm letting my dad do most of the scouting while I work, and he's sounding really good now. So I'm itching to be down there. And as you were talking about Halloween, that's when I want to be there personally. Mm.
Do you miss the TV show at all?
No, I think I got my fill. My father and I had some outstanding memories. We got to travel the world and see all kinds of things and share them memories that'll last a lifetime. And, that's what life's about to me, is sharing memories. But, no, as far as the TV, that was a chapter. It was a lot of fun. Met some great, awesome people like yourself and great friendships. But, no, I don't miss it. I actually enjoy where I'm at now, where I could go down to the hunting camp and enjoy the food and the laughter and my dad and uncle, brother, and the kids, and just have a good time that way. And the emphasis is not on the success to me. If it happens, it happens. If I see the buck I want, I'll take him, and if not, I'll let him go.
There you go. So where are you, and again, I'm not trying to be nosy here, but where are you professionally now, Greg? Have you retired, or you still have your hands in some things?
Oh, no, I can't stay retired. I'm semi-retired is what I tell people. We sold our big patents. We sold our bow grunner, dual grunner patent, and we sold our scent web patent back in 2017. But I still held on to a few turkey calls, and we still got some really outstanding scents that we've developed, some really good synthetics. And I have some inventions out there that I'm collecting royalties on, so the Lord's blessed me where I can take this next chapter and slow down a little bit and spend more time with those around me.
Good for you. Good for you. This concept of deer vocalization and talking to deer, in my mind, you are one of the guys who really kind of pioneered this and brought it to the average hunter. Tell me more about that.
Actually, my father developed that social deer calling, which is for the early season. When the deer aren't in the rut and they're not making a whole lot of vocalizations. And my dad developed the social calling, and he developed the bow grunner, which a lot of people in Michigan are very familiar with. And we found that deer communicate year-round, not just during the rut. They do get more vocal and louder during the rut, but they communicate year-round. So from the beginning of the bow season, you can actually call in deer with social calling. And, in fact, you could use your social calling and what we consider social deer scents throughout the whole season because they're very safe to use.
Can I find a bow grunner anymore? Can I still buy those?
Not from us. But if you want me to mention the company,
yeah, go ahead.
will.
That's fine. Sure.
It's Bossman Outdoors.
And do they still call it the bow grunner?
They call it the hands-free grunter.
Okay.
And Bossman Outdoors is out east.
Because the reason I ask is because I was looking for mine the other day and I realized it's seen better days. So I'd like to get a new one.
Yep. You have to get with the boss man there.
All right. Hey, do you? I should have said something beforehand. Do you happen to have a call with you anywhere nearby?
Oh yeah, I do.
Can you give us an example of what you're talking about with these deer vocalization, that calling, talking to deer?
Sure. One of my favorites, and we're right on the verge of me switching over, but I'm still using the short doe grunt this time of year. I like to give out 3 singular notes, spaced a couple seconds apart, and you just never know what that deer is doing, especially when you're just trying to drum up business, and you don't know if there's a deer around. So you give out calling about every 20 minutes, and, they'll hear it, and, they may pinpoint you a little bit and slowly walk in to see who's there. Because just like your house, here's a good analogy. Let's say you were in your house and you heard a strange voice. You would absolutely go to explore out of curiosity, right? Mm-hmm. It's something that doesn't belong there. Who is it? And you have to understand that deer have their own territories and their own backyards, and they know the voice is there. And when you come along and you introduce a new voice, a new scent, one of them two, they have a need to know who's there. And that's what my father discovered many, many years ago that has been very successful. Now, the calling itself changes right about now. We're on the verge of switching over. Now that there's some scrapes out there now, the bucks are starting to chase a little bit. My favorite by far is the buck call, and it's just a little louder grunt than what you heard there. And it sounds like this. This is an exciting time of year because I have a really high success rate calling in bucks this time of year. It's my favorite time for calling deer. They're very active. They're really going around and smelling these new scrapes, and they're leaving rubs, and they're really starting to get silly, and that's when they're the most vulnerable.
Greg, we got to take a break here on the Outdoor Magazine show. Remind me the website we should use to get in touch with what you guys are about these days.
Okay.
What is it, please?
It's awayhunting.com.
awayhunting.com. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to misspeak. awayhunting.com. You can learn more about Greg Abbas, his dad, Fred, the Abbas family. Just great people and hardcore whitetail hunters and some of the best that you will know. We got to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk with Greg a little bit more about deer calling, about mock scrapes, and probably his invention consulting business as well. That's coming up right here on Outdoor Magazine. The folks at Yider Insurance Group know you have lots of money invested in your hunting and fishing gear, and they want you to be protected. The Yider family has been in the insurance business for more than 75 years, and they build a reputation for taking great care of their customers. As a full-service agency featuring auto owners insurance, Yider can insure your fishing and hunting gear, your boat, snowmobile, ATV, and trailer, just about everything you depend on for your outdoor adventures. Yider also specializes in protecting outdoor-related businesses, from fishing guides to shooting ranges, anything for the great outdoors. The folks at Yider can help you because they're hunters and anglers themselves, and they know what we need from an insurance company. For more info, go to their website, huntingandfishinginsurance.com. That's huntingandfishinginsurance.com. Or call them toll-free at 800-975-6473. I trust the Yider Group and auto owners for all my insurance needs, because with Yider and auto owners, you've got friends in the outdoor insurance business. Everybody needs to put gas in their tank, so the next time, why not save money with fuel rewards from Forward Shell convenience stores? With fuel rewards, you'll save at least 5 cents a gallon on every fill-up at the 26 Forward Shell convenience stores. Plus, you can earn additional savings with select products and special offers at those Forward stores. You can save 20, 30, even 40 cents a gallon, and the more you use fuel rewards, the more you can save. I use the Fuel Rewards program every time I stop by a Forward Shell convenience store. And you can too. Go to fuelrewards.com. That's fuelrewards.com. You can also download the Fuel Rewards app on your phone. The Fuel Rewards program at your local Forward Shell convenience store. A great way to save money every time you fill up. To learn more, check out forwardconvenience.com. That's forwardconvenience.com. Food plots are a big deal these days, and nobody knows food plots better than the folks at Michigan-based Killer Food Plots. Company owner Nick Percy has worked hard to develop premier whitetail habitat for almost 3 decades. That experience, combined with expertise in building healthy soil and choosing the right seed, will produce the results you're looking for. KFP's natural-based Groganics Fusion Fertilizer and Retain Moisture and nutrient-absorbing pellets can give you the edge in creating food plots to attract and keep deer on your property. Check out their website, killerfoodplots.com. That's killerfoodplots.com. Killer Food Plots can help you get your soil where it needs to be to produce lots of healthy, great-tasting food for wildlife and cover crops to screen your plots and even direct the deer where you want them. This year, take your food plots to the next level with Killer Food Plots. killerfoodplots.com.
It's a complicated world we live in. Right about now, I'll bet your head is spinning like a tornado with news and opinions and conflicting do this and don't do that recommendations. Some days, you just want to throw up your hands, go to the woods, and stay there. And you know, that's not a bad idea. Jay's Sporting Goods encourages you to get back to your roots. Do some simple, traditional things for a while. In Michigan's great outdoors, space is one thing we have plenty of. So put as much social distance as you like between you and everyone else, including all your social media pals who somehow just recently became experts on every topic. And one more thing. Before you head out, head into Jay's Sporting Goods. Because even though there are shortages of a lot of things these days, Jay's has just what you need to make the most of your escape to our beautiful wide open spaces. It's the gateway to social distancing the way God intended. Jay's Sporting Goods, Claire and Gaylord.
You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Houghton Lake on two stations. It's a twofer. The Twister 92.1 WTWS and Powerhouse Station 98.5 WUPS. You can hear us in Manistee on WMLQ 97.7 FM, and you can hear us in Saginaw on WSGW FM 100.5. This segment of Outdoor Magazine, this segment brought to you by MUCC's On the Ground program. OTG is a program to improve habitat for fish and wildlife across the state. For details, check out the Michigan United Conservation Club's website. It's mucc.org, mucc.org. And a reminder, if you want to save 25% on your MUCC membership, or your renewal, in fact, you can go to mucc.org and use the promo code MIKE, all caps, MIKE, and save 25% on your MUCC membership. How cool is that? mucc.org. While you're online, I would ask you to check out my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Also check out awayhunting.com. That's the website of Away Outdoors. Fred and Greg Abbas. Greg is with me now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. And Greg, you were saying this is getting to be a real interesting time of year for deer hunters in the Michigan woods.
Oh, absolutely. My favorite time.
When you look at your different tactics and techniques as far as calling, rattling, scrapes, rubs, what's the hierarchy here? What's the most important?
Boy, you know, it all comes together, and it's like a puzzle, and each one contributes. But if you narrowed me down, hey, Greg, you could only take a call or the sense to the woods, which would it be? I'd probably have to flip a coin.
Really?
I have really good success on the calling, but I guess if you really twisted my arm, it'd probably be the sense.
Well, so the calling, though, as the let me back up a step here. I mentioned rattling. I know that's big out west and some other traditional big buck states. Do you rattle in Michigan?
I do. I use a rack from a smaller buck that I harvested years ago, and all I do is tickle the tines. I don't do a big knockdown, drag-out fight. You know, out west, they have better buck-to-doe ratios than we have here. You know, we have a lot of does per buck here, so these bucks aren't having to really get in big fights over does. But, again, drawing on curiosity in your calling, your rattling, and your sense, the tickling of the tines, again, is a curiosity. And being I'm using a smaller rack, it's non-threatening even to a larger buck who might want to defend his territory and not be afraid of taking on another bruiser. So when he hears a rack of a smaller buck, then he's more inclined to come in to investigate, who's there.
I want to go back to calling for here just a second. And you may have mentioned this, but I want to follow up on it. Do you have to see a deer to call, or will you call even when you don't see deer?
Oh, I call in the blind all the time, without seeing a deer. And I try to drum up business. And, again, about every 20 minutes or so, I'll let out a few grunts and just put the call down and sit back and watch. I observed a deer, a nice buck that I did harvest on film many years ago, that I worked for a half hour calling, And had I not seen this, I would not know what's going on in the woods when they hear you. This buck heard me, yet he's still done this very large circle trying to look, trying to wind, trying to see who this other buck was, and took him a half hour to finally work his way in and come into bow range for me. And if you can imagine, if you're hunting a thicket, that's taking place all the time, and you're just not knowing it. So that's why you need to be patient in your calling.
So during this 20 minutes, did you call once and then be quiet, or were you calling as he was making his movement?
Because I could see him, I did call a little more often. I wasn't staying on a 3-note sequence at that point. Once I see a buck and I'm working him, it's singular notes.
And I know when we talk about calling turkeys, you always say less is more. You know, don't be too loud, don't be too vocal. Does that carry over to whitetails as well?
Even more so. You cannot carry on a conversation with a deer. At least a turkey's talking back with you a lot. A deer does not. He might grunt back, but he's not going to grunt every time you do. It's better to be like that deer. Don't tip them off that something's wrong here. You know, if there's someone being very, very vocal and it's out of place, it's going to stick out.
And if you've got a deer coming towards you, just shut up and let it happen.
You know, don't blow your own hunt. Let it happen. There's so many things that could go wrong. A lot of things have to go right for you to get a crack at that animal, so don't blow it.
Now, what about scent? How do we use scent? To me, it's kind of a... I think it sometimes feels like it's really complicated, but I think maybe some people just take it to that level, and it doesn't have to be.
No, you don't. Actually, scent can be probably one of your best tools out there for sure. And it just depends what type of scent you're using for that type of year. You want to try to match it. We're getting into a period right now where we are using 2 different scents, and we're creating 2 different mock scrapes close to one another. We want 2 different smells in there. One, we're using a curiosity scent, which would, in our line of products, would be our smart scrape. But we're also using the estrus now, just starting to use the estrus, which is our desire. And we're putting them in separate scrapes. We're giving them a variety. The curiosity is always going to draw, even during early season. I want to continue that. But we're getting in that transition period where these bucks are starting to chase does, and they're wanting that estrus. So we got 2 things working right now.
What is a mock scrape?
That's where you want to bring a deer in, and there's no scrape already there. A deer scrapes to attract other deer. They'll scrape the ground, make a round spot on the ground, and then they'll urinate in there, and then they'll paw it, and then they'll nibble on a licking branch up above, and that's how they meet up with one another. And it's a calling card, so to speak. It's a nightclub. And a mock scrape is one where you need a scrape where you're hunting. You really want one, and there's not one there. Like, we make ours just off the sides of trails. At the very least, it will stop them for a shot. But in most cases, it attracts them too. So we make a mock scrape. We'll take a rake or we'll take a stick, and we'll make a circular spot about 18 inches, and we'll pour some synthetic. You know, here in Michigan, we got to use the synthetics or the approved stuff. But the synthetics are good for starting them scrapes. And once a buck comes and he starts urinating in it, he turns it into a real scrape at that point.
I hear terms like boundary scrapes and community scrapes. What do people mean by those?
Well, boundary is just that. There's a buck marking out his territory, and this is his boundary. Community scrape is one where he's really trying to attract the does. There's a lot of deer using it. It's probably on a main run or on the edge of a field that's being used a lot by deer, and there's many deer using it. I call that the nightclub, and that's the type we really like the most. If you're after one big buck, then you might do that territory scrape, on the edge there.
How often will a buck hit a scrape?
When they're into the season, they're hitting them every day. So game cameras are a great, awesome tool these days that you can put over the scrape and see what time these bucks are coming around and try to get there while they're in your area, because things can change in a couple days. They get onto another hot doe that takes them, over to the next property, then, they could be gone.
So if you find a good big scrape, it's obvious it's getting a lot of use. I mean, do you sit over that? Do you hunt over a scrape?
I do. I like the scrapes. If I like to, I like them especially for stopping the deer for a shot, and I'm talking archery. Now, if it's gun hunting, if I don't have to hunt right over the scrape, but still it's in distance of the gun, I will do that. In that case, I'd like to be in between the two, or more so in between the food plot and the bedding area, where you're going to see a lot of scrapes on the main trails anyhow.
Another thing I find interesting, and you were one of the first people I ever heard talk about this, is the idea of a sanctuary. There in your hunting property here in Michigan, you've got places you will not go except to recover a deer, right?
Absolutely. I think everybody should do that, even if you have a small parcel. Set aside a little bit of land for them so they can just bed down, and it's a safe zone. So when the pressure starts around you, these deer will come in there and they'll feel safe to bed. And if you provide everything they need on that property, you're encouraging them to stay. You're giving them a place to bed. You're giving them a place to eat with your food plots. And we mow trails in between the two, and we create these I-75 deer runs, the main deer runs. And we're just giving them every excuse to stay. And then, hopefully our does go out and bring back bucks that we didn't even know about, and they're happy to stay there for a while too.
And you actually use pressure from the outside. Like when the gun season fires up, you like that, right? Because it tends to push deer into your area?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that brings deer right in.
Well, Greg, it's always very enjoyable for me to talk about deer hunting with you, because I've learned a lot about turkey hunting from you and a lot about deer hunting as well. But I want to turn my attention, if you've got a few more minutes, I'd like to talk a little bit about your invention consulting business, because I get, for some reason, people think I know how to do this, and I don't. But I get a lot of people who come to me and say, hey, how do I bring a product to market? And I send them all to you. So can you stick around for a few more minutes? I'd like to offer you the coveted third segment, and we can talk about this more in depth if that's okay with you.
Sounds good.
Greg Abbas of A-Way Outdoors, the website, awayhunting.com. That's awayhunting.com. Greg and his dad, of course, the ones that came up with the Bow Grunner, the Bow Grunner Plus, that I used for many years. And I was just looking online because it's the Bossman now. I'd like to find another one because mine needs to be replaced. So Greg Abbas, we'll talk with him. Then, of course, we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Minar. I do not know what Dave has planned for us this week, but you can rest assured that it will be very tasty, even here on the radio. And a reminder, you can always reach me. The website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Please check that out, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. And my email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. You can hit me up there with the Ask Avery segment questions, comments, guest suggestions, concerns, disagreement. If you don't agree with something I said, that's fine. Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Or you can always hit me up on just about any of the social media outlets as well. We'll take a break. When we come back, wrap up our conversation with Greg Abbas of A-Way Outdoors, awayhunting.com. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Holland on WHTC. It's AM and FM, 1450 AM, 99.7 FM. You can hear us in Ludington on News 97.98, 98.7 WLDN. And you can hear us in Saginaw on our flagship station, News Radio 790 WSGW. I say flagship with no disrespect to any of our affiliate stations. I appreciate each and every one of them. But I do have a very close relationship with the folks here at WSGW. I'm in their studios right now. Of course, while I'm here, it's called the Outdoor Magazine Studio. And here with Charlie Rue doing a wonderful job, as always, as he turns to wave to the adoring, you can hear him, Charlie. See, there, yeah, that's Charlie. My name is Mike Avery. Glad to have you along with us. And a reminder, too, this segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by my friends at Wilds Plumbing and Heating. From plumbing, heating, air conditioning, sump pumps, ductwork cleaning, you name it, the folks from Wilds can help you out. I had two crews at the house at the same time last week. One of the guys was getting the furnace tuned up for the preseason check, and somebody else was fixing a leak in the shower. And it was one of those things where I looked at it and said, I could probably fix that. And then I saw where it was leaking. I thought, nope, I'm not taking that apart. I'm going to leave it to the pros. And they did a wonderful job, as they can do for you as well. Check them out online at wildsplumbingandheating.com, wildsplumbingandheating.com. While you're online, of course, my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com, and check out awayhunting.com, the website of Away Outdoors. Fred and Greg Abbas. Greg is with me now on the phone line. Greg, I'm fascinated by this line of pursuit that you recently got into with Invention Consulting. Tell me more about that.
Well, as you know, my father and I have been in the outdoor industry for about 30 years, and we've made some really good friendships with people in the industry, and we know a lot of the companies out there, and we know the business and how to do it. And there's so many people that come up with ideas, and they think that they'll just produce it, put a price tag on it, and it's going to blow up and make them rich. And, God bless. I hope that happens, but it just doesn't. And there's so much more to it. And we made every mistake there was when we first started. I took the knocks on the head. You don't need to. But I'd say about 99% of my inventors wish to work a deal for a royalty or maybe sell their idea to one of the established companies. And that's where I use my relationships to knock on the doors and try to get my inventors deals. And that's what I do in my semi-retirement now. I love doing it. Each one's a little different, and there's some really good innovations going on.
So if somebody comes up with an idea and the ultimate goal is to sell it to a bigger company, do they have to come up with a product to prototype and show off, or is just the idea sellable?
A company will not pay you a penny for the thought in the head. Unfortunately, you got to spend a little money on some sort of patent work, and there's very affordable types of patent work out there, and I know that scares people away, those that don't know, but if they give me a holler first or check out my website, they'll see that there's ways to go about it that's very economical. But no, a company won't pay you for the thought in the head. As for getting the prototype, it's always helpful, even if you could make a garage prototype, even if you have to Frankenstein one together and it works, that's a big plus. If you can't, I know people that can do it, but I always try to save my inventors money. So if they could build something on their own, that's a big plus.
Again, I don't want to get into anybody's business here on the show, but I need a ballpark. Are we talking tens of thousands to get this rolling, 100,000 to bring a product to market? What are we talking?
Well, getting in a position to knock on doors, you're probably in the $3,000 range, somewhere in there, and that would include the patent work, which does not include me. I'm just factoring in a patent attorney. Mm-hmm. It could be even a little less than what I estimated. And then coming up with some of the things that I do, us getting together and game planning, which is the most important part, then creating what I call a presentation page of the product with good selling points. Me and the inventor will really brainstorm and come up with good points. And then get a professional market survey completed so we could prove to the company that there's going to be demand for this and prove to them that there's going to be profit. And these are things that people don't think to do. Most people just say, hey, look what I got. Yeah. And, you need to stand out. And, you're talking to a businessman on the other end, too, not just a hunter. The hunter will, in that company will see the value of the product if it's a good one, but he or she has to put on their business cap at some point, too, and wonder, is this going to go over and how much profitability? So there's certain things we need to prove to the company, and we need to stand out because we're not the only ones knocking on that door, and we do stand out.
And if somebody comes to you, Greg, with a product, and your gut says or your experience says, you know what, this isn't a good idea, it's not going to make it, will you tell the person that? Because in some ways you're dashing their hopes and dreams, right?
well, Mike, I don't want to get shot. And I'll give you, I can always give my opinion. And there's not an inventor that doesn't ask that, by the way, so it's a good question.
Yeah.
But I've run into products where I probably would not buy them, but I still work my tail off because that inventor believes in it, and I pass it on to the product managers and company presidents, and lo and behold, it only takes one to like it. And I've had this happen many times. It's not up to me if I like it. It's not up to the inventor if they like it. The only person who matters is that person who's looking to maybe buy it. If they like it, we're on our way. So if I were to tell someone that, hey, I don't like it, you're wasting your money, and then someone else comes up with something similar a few years later, and you see it in Cabela's catalog, and it's doing well, I'm going to get shot.
I got you, Greg. Listen, I got to let you go. Always a pleasure. Greg Abbas, A-Way Outdoors, awayhunting.com, the website awayhunting.com. Wild Game Chef Dave Minar coming up. By now, you know all about Angler Quest boats. The center console design, binary wall system, and smooth ride with lots of room have anglers convinced a pontoon can be a great fishing rig. And the folks at Michigan-based Angler Quest continue to make their boats even better. Now, the signature rocket launcher Arch can tilt down. That's great for high water levels, trailering, and storage. Also, there's a new panfish model that's perfect for smaller inland lakes. The popular Pro Troll models continue to dominate big water for walleye, salmon, and trout, and the family fish can keep everyone happy, whether fishing or cruising. All Angler Quest boats are designed by fishermen and made in Michigan by skilled craftsmen using the latest technology. You can learn more online at anglerquestpontoons.com. That's anglerquestpontoons.com. With more models, upgraded designs, plenty of features, and bigger outboards, this is the perfect year for you to join the Angler Quest family.
At Garber Chevrolet in Midland, Saginaw, Linwood, Caro, and now Chesaning. We're better for a reason. Like Garber's low price guarantee. Get incredible everyday low prices on a new Chevy Equinox, Silverado, Traverse, or Trax. Think you found a better deal somewhere else? Bring it to us, and we will beat it. Getting more options and choices is always better. And Garber's combined inventory is the Great Lakes Bay region's largest selection of new Chevrolets. Browse online at garberchevrolet.com. Then use our Buy From Home feature to purchase entirely online. And Garber Chevrolet's customer service is in a class of its own. We always put your needs first. Better prices, better selection. There's a reason why you'll do better at Garber Chevrolet in Midland, Saginaw, Linwood, Caro, and now Chesaning. Home with a low price guarantee. Online at garberchevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You'll do better at Garber.
Have you tried the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks from Michigan Brand Meats? They feature two of my favorites, elk and pepper, and I think they taste great. I've been working with the Grillo family of Michigan Brand for a few years now, and I couldn't be happier. Michigan Brand is family-owned and based right here in Michigan, and they make lots of great products. From jerky, sausage, and those Hunter Sticks to their famous Michigan Brand hams, you can't go wrong with Michigan Brand meats. Plus, Michigan Brand can process your boned-out wild game, too. Check out the website, michiganbrand.net, for more info. That's michiganbrand.net. You can buy the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks on that website. Plus, you can get them at Jay's Sporting Goods, all Forward convenience stores, Jack's Fruit Markets, and many other great stores, too. There's a complete list on the website. Again, that's michiganbrand.net for the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks, the outstanding Michigan Brand hams, and lots more. michiganbrand.net. Security Credit Union wants to thank you for helping to make them one of Michigan's fastest growing credit unions. Check out Security's Debit Rewards program, where you can earn points just by using your debit or Titanium Rewards credit card. Redeem those points for great gifts and merchandise. Or how about the Save to Win account? That's a Security Credit Union account that gives you all the benefits of a traditional savings account, plus the chance to win big. Every $25 you deposit into this share certificate earns you an entry into the monthly and quarterly drawings. The more you save, the more chances to earn. Up to 10 entries per month. You'll build up your savings, earn interest and dividends, and have a chance at multiple prizes. And remember, Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoors men and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. Federally insured by the NCUA. Welcome back to Outdoor Magazine. So glad to have you along with us, and so glad to be working with the folks from Reader Landscaping. Outdoor Magazine brought to you in part by the folks from Reader Landscaping. They can take care of your lawn and property because it's your nature and our nurture. Fall cleanup now, of course, in full swing. If you don't have your sprinkler system winterized yet, you should be doing that. And looking down the road, not too far down the road, well, hopefully a long ways down the road, snow removal as well. The folks from Reader can take care of all of those things and more. Check them out online at readerlandscaping.com. That's readerlandscaping.com. If you've been with me before, thank you. I do appreciate that. If you're brand new to the show, thank you as well. But you should know that each week we like to wrap up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Minar, a good friend of mine, a guy I've worked with for many, many years, and he's with us once again. David, welcome back.
How you doing, Michael?
I am doing just great. How about you?
Same here. I've been in the woods a lot this year, and I've seen a lot of deer activity, and it's just great.
Great, and it's going to get nothing but more fun here over the next couple of weeks.
I know. I think it's starting already. I saw a little bit of activity of that nature here the other night.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Dave, I said going into this, I don't want to know what you're going to cook this time. I want to be surprised. So what have you got for us?
All right, close your ears, Michael.
I'm not listening.
We're going to do a spicy salmon. This is a dish that, well, some of the fish in the rivers, the ones that are coming up later, they might not be as silvery, and you might want to still use them for table fare, but this is a great way to do it. You want about 8 to 10 ounces of meat, boneless, skinless, per person, a couple of eggs, some flour to dredge, a medium onion diced up real fine. Nice. This is going to be for 4 portions, so you need a whole package of sliced mushrooms, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, a little heavy cream to your flavor, and I like to use either bourbon or brandy in this dish. I prefer bourbon, actually, because it's going to have a little more body to the sauce when we're done here. A couple ounces of white wine. You need 1 jar of chicken gravy, maybe not the whole thing. And I like to use in this dish green peppercorn. Those that are little pickled berries, of the pepper, and it has a wonderful pungent flavor to it. And I like a lot of that. So sometimes you can smash them up and smear it on the meat or whatever you like to do, and a little olive oil. So you want to dredge the meat in flour, and then in the beaten up eggs in a real nice hot frying pan with a little bit of olive oil. Brown the fish on both sides. You want to start at skin side up, so when you turn it, the rib side is up, and then you're going to brown it all off, and then you're going to put this in an oven-proof casserole. You're going to bake this for a little while, okay? Then you're going to add the onions and the garlic and the mushrooms and the peppercorns at this point because you want to break that flavor loose. So you could smash them up, dice them, or leave them whole. It's up to you, however you like this. So bring all of this to a boil. The bourbon or brandy, whichever you're going to use, heavy cream, the garlic. Bring it all up to a boil. Cook it a little minute or just a minute or two just to get some kind of idea of what your flavor is going to be like. So taste it. See what you think. You might need to add a little more garlic or more onion or more peppercorns. These green peppercorns have a nice pungent flavor to them, but they're not really spicy hot. If you want them more hot, you could add some Tabasco or grate some fresh black pepper in this. So if you like, then you can pour this over the meat, put it in the oven for 350 degrees because it's already started to be cooked. You're going to have hot sauce. You don't want to overcook this. So it's only going to take probably 8 to 10 minutes tops, in the oven uncovered. You kind of reduce that down a little bit. So this is a great way to use a stronger flavored fish, not the silver ones, but it would be good for them, the salmon that are coming up, or steelhead into the river. There's still a few good ones left coming in. Sure.
Now, if I was to try to use this on a fresh fish or a summertime fish, Dave, would it be too much for it?
Oh no. You might want to cut back a little bit on the peppercorns
Never,
and maybe a little
never,
bit on the
never,
side.
never.
Okay, well, same here. I like that pungent. The green peppercorn to me has a really unique flavor.
Well, tell me the difference between the green ones and the black peppercorns that I love so much. I'm not sure I've even had a green peppercorn.
Okay, the black peppercorn is a ripe pepper. It's already ripe. And so it's turned dark and it's dry. You dried it out. That's the kind you'd put in a pepper mill or you crush it up to use for a poivre or something like that. The green ones, they're from Madagascar, and they pick them green and they pickle them and they put them in little jars for you.
Ah.
And, I think that's the only place in the world that they grow them. I could be wrong, but I think Madagascar is the ticket to happiness in the country where we're looking
I'm not
for.
sure I've ever had those before. I will look for those now.
You have on the TV show because we made a couple of 3 or 4 different recipes.
Okay. Well, I think over the years you probably made just about everything on that show over time.
Well, we did a lot, didn't we? A whole cookbook full, that's for sure.
Any idea how many recipes you cooked for me on the air?
Right around 200.
Oh, David, and you're still going strong. Congrats, my friend. Good luck in the woods. We'll talk to you next time.
Right. Thanks, Mike. You also could get a chance to get out. And everybody
I'll be
be safe. We're a hunter safety system. If you're up in a tree, please.
Absolutely. Great words of advice from wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Minar, a big part of the Outdoor Magazine show, as are you, because if you weren't listening, there would be no reason to do the show, and I would be very, very sad. Check out the website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. You can always reach me via email, mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time right here on Outdoor Magazine.